Okay, hello everybody. Let's take a look at IELTS Task 2 Introductions. I'm going to show you an easy way to do all of your introductions, and it will help you organize your essay. And I will show you how, I will walk you through how I would do an essay. Okay, so let's look at the question. Some people say that history is one of the most important school subjects. Other people think that in today's world, subjects like science and technology are more important than history. Discuss both views and give your opinion. So first thing is I'm circling history, then I'm circling science and technology, and then my opinion. So actually when I see the question, even as a native speaker, I think, I'm not really sure what the answer is actually at this point. So the first thing I will do is think about the structure then. So first I need to think of the structure. Obviously there's an introduction here, and there's a conclusion here. Paragraph 1 is going to be about history, why it's important. 2, tech and science. Paragraph 3, my opinion. Okay, so there's the whole structure of the essay set out. That's good. So first thing we need to think about is, before we start writing the introduction, it's key, before we start writing, is why is history important? Then we need to think about why tech and science are important. When we know those things, we can then think about how to introduce our essay, how we'll introduce what we're going to talk about. So first, have a think about these. Now, if you just paraphrase the question, it doesn't show the introduction connecting to your paragraphs because you haven't thought about your paragraphs yet. You're just paraphrasing the question. Some people think that history is important, others think that tech is important, but why? You have no foundation there. You need the foundation of the paragraphs. You need to know what you're going to say before you write the introduction, because the introduction should contain bits of what you're going to say in those paragraphs. That is how you introduce an essay, by saying this is what we'll talk about. Okay? This is not just for IELTS. This is for, bachelor's, master's, PhD, and introductions introducing the reader to what your topic is and what you're going to talk about. So it's correct. It's something that's used academically everywhere in the Western world. Okay. So first, I'm going to have a think about why is history important. Now, even as a native speaker, I think, oh, why is history important? I don't know. Actually, I'm not sure. What am I going to do? I'm going to ask myself some questions. So why do we study history? Well, what do we study? First of all, that's an easy question, right? You can think in any country in the world, you study politics, you study geography, you study war, you study philosophical changes, religious changes, all of these things, right? We basically study events. It could be the Vietnam War, it could be the shooting of John F. Kennedy, World War I, World War II, any of these things. What do we learn from studying these events? Well, we learn what mistakes were made. We learn the successes. So Americans made a lot of mistakes in Vietnam, right? We can learn from Vietnamese people how successful they were at surviving those wars. And I say those wars because you also have people from the north coming in. So from events, we learn about mistakes and successes. How does that apply to us now? Why do we need to study this now? Well, the history of these events teaches us how to use or guide our tools of science and war and technology. So in the past, even in the Roman times, they had technology and they decided how to use them. Now we have more advanced technology, but it's the same situation in a philosophical sense. What do we do with that technology? So, for example, do we give everybody use of the technology, or do we keep it hidden, or do we only allow it for certain areas of society, for example? So, why we have to ask these questions. What do we study? What do we learn? How does it apply? So it tells us what to do with our tools, right? What decisions to make. Same thing for science and tech. Why are they important? Well, we know what we study: biology, chemistry, robotics, advanced, human augmentation, DNA, cloning, all of these things. What do we learn? Well, we learn how to manipulate the material world. how does that apply to modern life? Well, we get a job and make money, or use it to go to war, right? So now I know what part 1 is. Now I know what part 2 is. My basic idea for my paragraph, paragraph 3, is going to be history teaches us how to guide science and technology. We need science and technology and we need history. So my paragraph, in my opinion, is we need both. And I will say that in my thesis. Okay, so now I have this background. I know what I'm going to talk about in my whole essay. This is crucial because if you start writing and you don't know, your introduction will have no connection to your paragraphs. Now think about the coherence and cohesion marks. Cohesion means things fit together. If you just write a random introduction, oh, many people think this and many people think that, how does it connect to what you're saying in your paragraphs? And then if you write that and you get to your paragraphs and you start writing about a topic, it's like you don't know what you're going to write and you don't know why. So you need to learn how to put the structure of the essay in your mind, and then, so you know, like I said, intro, paragraph 1, 2, 3, but also know what's going into paragraph 1, 2, and 3. You know some of the details. You know your opinion. You know what you're going to say. This helps you focus on the topic, and then when you write your introduction, it connects to the rest of the essay. Now, my course that I teach online, there's a link below, shows you how to do this. It not only shows you how to do it, but it helps you practice and give you the vocabulary and the academic vocabulary that you need, not only to pass IELTS and get a 7+, but to go to university and function and do well at university. Because if you don't know these techniques at university, you're in serious trouble. Okay, so let's look at what I wrote. The tools of science and technology have been with us throughout history. Okay, this is more intelligent than saying some people think that history is important. Or paraphrasing and saying the same thing. Doesn't mean anything. But here we have, this leads directly into my point of view. Science, and it's true, science and technology have been with us throughout history. Okay, so they've always been there. This is nothing new. You know, we have the catapult, we have the Chinese inventing gunpowder, we have the Chinese inventing a helicopter, printing press. Technology has always been there. The question is, when we study history, is what are we going to do with it? So this is an intelligent start to the essay. The ways in which they have been used were guided by our thoughts and ideologies. Okay, so thoughts and ideologies are connected to history. That's what we study. Remember events. Why did we go to Vietnam? I say we. I'm Canadian. I didn't go. This essay will examine the benefits of studying science, technology, and history. Okay, so that's what the essay wants you to do. Fine. And suggests that both must be learned together. Interesting. Why? The examiner is going to say, interesting idea. Why do they need to go together? And that's your whole essay right there, organized, thought through, and you've got a 7+ for this introduction. Okay, so any questions, put them in the comments. Link for the course is below. There's a mini course you can do for free. The full course will cover everything you need for task 2. It's guaranteed. It is unlimited essay checking, because I can check your essays really quickly and point out where you're going right or wrong. And before you go for your exam, I will give you a one-to-one, like a consultation to see where you're at. Okay? The 30 videos in the course will give you all the vocabulary, the academic vocabulary, and will give you all 4 band descriptors and tell you exactly how to make sure you are meeting the requirements the examiner needs to see to give you a 7. Remember, band descriptors, as boring as they are the rule book for examiners to mark you. The examiner has to mark you based on band descriptors. Your job is to understand what those band descriptors mean, which I explain in the course, and understand what you have to do on the exam to meet what the examiner expects from you. The course does that. It's a really well-priced course. It's introductory. It's new. I've actually been teaching for 20 years. Lots of IELTS experience, all my students get 7+, and you can too. Okay, good luck.